The Virgin Mary in the Kingdom. Day 5. The fifth step of the divine will in the Queen of Heaven, the triumph in the test. The soul to the Queen of Heaven. Heavenly Sovereign, I see you stretch out your arms to lift me onto your maternal lap, and I fly unto you to enjoy the chaste embraces and the heavenly smiles of my Heavenly Mother. Holy Mother, your appearance today is one of triumph. With an air of triumph, you wish to narrate to me your victory over the test. Oh yes, I will gladly listen to you, and I ask you to grant me the grace to be triumphant in the tests the Lord disposes for me.
Lesson of the Queen of Heaven. Child most dear to me, oh how I long to confide to you my secrets. My sharing with you these secrets will give me much glory, and they will glorify that divine fiat that was the primary cause of my immaculate conception, of my sanctity, sovereignty, and maternity. I owe everything to the divine fiat. Apart from it I knew nothing else. All of my sublime qualities with which the Holy Church so honors me are nothing other than the effects of the divine will, that dominated, reigned, and lived in me. This is why I yearned so much to share that, which engendered in me so many qualities and admirable effects that astonish heaven and earth. Now listen closely to what your tender mother wishes to tell you, dear child. As soon as the Supreme Being asked for my human will, I understood the great evil the human will can create in the soul and how it jeopardizes everything, even the most beautiful works of its Creator. The soul, with its human will, continuously vacillates. It is weak, inconstant, and disordered. The reason why the human will is so inconstant is because when God created the soul, He united it naturally, as it were, with His divine will. Indeed, the human will was created to be the strength, the prime motion, the support, the nourishment, and the life of the human will. Therefore, if we fail to allow the divine will to take up its life in our human will, we reject the blessings we received from God at the time of man's creation, and we reject the natural rightful claims that accompanied His creation. Oh, how well I understood their grave offense against God and, as a result, the evils that pour out upon the soul. I had such horror and fear of doing my own will, and rightly so, as Adam was also created innocent by God, but by doing his own will, he plunged himself along with all generations into innumerable evils. Wherefore I, your tender mother, while terrified, was more overwhelmed with love for my Creator, and so I swore never to do my own will. And to better attest to the sacrifice and to ensure to the one who had given me so many seas of grace and privileges, I took my human will and bound it to the foot of the divine throne in continuous homage of love and sacrifice. I promised God that I would never do my own will, not even for one instant of my life, but always the will of God. My child, it may seem to you that the sacrifice of living without my will was not great, but I tell you that there is no sacrifice similar to mine. Indeed, all other sacrifices throughout the history of the entire world may be called shadows when compared to mine. To sacrifice oneself for one day, one moment yes, the next moment no, is easy, but to sacrifice oneself in every instant, in every act, even in the very desire to do something good for one's entire life and without ever giving life to one's own will, is the sacrifice of sacrifices. It is the greatest proof one can offer. It is the purest love, filtered through the divine will itself that one can offer its Creator. This sacrifice is so great that God cannot ask anything more of the soul, nor is the soul capable of sacrificing anything greater to its Creator. Now, my dearest child, as soon as I offered my will to my Creator, I felt triumphant in the test God had asked of me, and God felt triumphant in my human will. God was waiting for my test that would make Him triumphant in a human creature who would live without her will, in order to make reparation for mankind's disorder and implore God's clemency and mercy. So, I will wait for you again to recount to you the story of what the divine will did after my triumph in the test. And now, a little word to you, my child. If you knew how I long to see you living without your will. You know that I am your mother, and as a mother, I wish to see my child happy, but how can you be happy if you do not decide to live without will, as your mother did? If you do so, I will provide for you in all your needs. I will place myself at your disposal and will be here for you in all things, my child, provided that you offer me the joy, the happiness, and the blessing of having a child who lives completely in the divine will.
The soul. Triumphant Sovereign, into your motherly hands I entrust my will. May you yourself, my dear mother, purify and embellish my will and bind it with your own will to the foot of the divine throne. In this way I may live not with my own will but always with the will of God.
Aspiration. Today, to honor me, in every act you do, place your will in my maternal hands, asking me to let the divine will assume its place of honor in your own will and flow in you.
Exclamation. Triumphant Queen, snatch my will from me and grant me the divine will in exchange.